Good evening, everyone. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Mr. Aaron Hopper from Emmanuel Baptist Church to lead us in our invocation for this evening.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we begin the serious and important work of governing and leading the Enid public school system, we want to just pause and acknowledge you. And Father, I especially want to say thank you, Father, for the great grace that you show all of us here in the community, the parents and the students, through the Enid public schools, through the administrators and the teachers who serve all of our children. And so, Father, I want to especially lift up tonight the teachers who sometimes or even oftentimes feel tired, who feel overworked, who feel underappreciated at times. And Father, I pray right now that you grant all of the teachers in our Enid public school system great peace and rest. Father, I pray that you fill their hearts with love for the students that they lead and remind them of the passion that drew them into education in the first place. Father, for our administrators and our leaders in the Enid public school system, they have a daunting and important task leading the system with many diverse needs and probably a budget that never seems to stretch far enough. And so, Father, I first of all pray that you grant them wisdom in the decisions that they have to make. Father, I pray that you fill their hearts with love for the people that they lead. And Father, I pray that you guard their hearts and their minds with integrity as they make tough decisions. And Father, we thank you for the great blessing that you have provided through all of the teachers and the administrators as they lead and teach our children. And it's in the strong name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you very much for that. And with that, we will call the meeting to order with all board members present, excluding Miss Janelle Huff at this moment. And Miss Jane Johnson, I will turn it over to you for presentations.
Yes, our spotlight student tonight is from Carver Early Childhood Center, and her principal, Miss Chris Smith, is going to introduce her with her teacher, Joan Dobbs.
I would like to introduce to you Leah Stamps from Carver Early Childhood Center in the Orange Room. And we have all these wonderful things to say about Leah. It says, Leah loves school because she loves Haggerty lessons and foundation lessons. And she likes singing and dancing and doing art. And she loves to go to church. She likes t-ball, soccer, painting, drawing, riding her bike, and she likes to go to the park. She likes to learn and get along with other kids. She is sweet, nice, and kind. And then her teacher says, Leah is a great leader. She comes to class excited to learn, works hard, and participates in all activities. She loves to sing and dance and is a friend to all her classmates. And Leah, we'd like to know why you like to go to school. What do you like about school?
I like reading, writing, and counting.
Reading, writing, and counting. All right, that's good stuff.
How far can you count? What did you tell me? How far can you count?
100.
Oh, you can already count to 100. That's good. All right. Well, we'll let you lead us here in just a minute. Would you please rise for the posting of the colors?
Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. We'll get a picture right quick. If parents would like to come down and get a picture, come on down. All right, let's get a quick picture. Get in there with them. Everybody got it? Good job, Lee. Let's give her one more hand.
She did a great job. Our high school secondary student is Miss Brianna Clayton, and I'm going to let Mr. Liddell tell us about Brianna.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, Dr. Floyd, board members, audience, good evening to everyone. This young lady, I am going to turn the mic over to her very quickly this evening. I know that's not normal for me, but tonight I am. And everything that she shares with us, please keep in mind that she does so working a good chunk of hours each week. I think she's been humble when she told me this afternoon, about 15. I think it's often more than that. And she opens at least 3 mornings a week at 6 in the morning over at Tropical Smoothie. And the rest of the story is quite fascinating. Brianna Clayton, who is the daughter of Michelle Shorts, and Brianna's going to tell us our whole scoop.
Hi, my name is Brianna Clayton. I'm a senior at Enid High School this year, and I will be attending Iowa State University in the fall. In the last 4 years, I've gotten a lot of opportunities being at Enid High, one of them being getting to do 3 sports. I do swim, track, and cross country, and I'm actually here with my swim team tonight, one of the people being recognized for qualifying for state. I qualified in the 100-yard breaststroke, and that was a goal I had been looking forward to since last season. I had never gotten to compete at that level before, and finally reaching that goal was amazing. Definitely my favorite high school memory so far. I have also gotten to take advantage of the AP classes and the NOC concurrent classes, both during the school year and during the summer. I have about 32 credits that are transferable whenever I go to college in the fall, so I will actually be considered a sophomore, which will save a lot of money. And in all of those classes, I have maintained A's, which actually has helped me get the rank of number 5 in our class of about 425. I have also been given the opportunity to intern at the St. Mary's Oncology Center under the director Wesley White through the EHS Works program at our school. They have been amazing and showing me everything. I get to shadow their infusion nurses and their doctors, and they have really shown me what kind of physician I want to be whenever I grow up, and they've shown me what a good doctor looks like and what healthcare should look like everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I really think that my internship actually set me apart in my most recent accomplishment, which was receiving the Allen Family Scholarship worth $40,000. That is definitely the biggest blessing I've received, and it's opened so many doors for me that otherwise would not be possible. One of them is probably getting to talk to you guys, and it is something that I will forever be thankful for. And lastly, I just want to thank you guys for everything that you do and have done for this district that I've been a part of since I was 3, starting in Glenwood and then Waller and then Enid High.
All right, good job. All right, anybody like to get pictures? Come on down. Brianna, congratulations on the Allen Family Scholarship. That's a wonderful blessing for sure, and best of luck in college. Let's give her another hand.
Our next recognition, or sets of recognition, Coach Sam Stewart is going to tell us about the accomplishments of his swim team. Sam?
right, so first I'm going to talk about Cheyenne Kissinger. She was state champion this year in the 500 freestyle. She is the hardest working swimmer that I've got on the team, maybe the hardest working I've ever coached. I've been coaching for about 10 years now. She almost never misses a practice, and the only few practices I can think of that she missed is because I told her she couldn't come. So very well deserved to be state champion. She also just was named last week to the West All-State team, and so another well-deserved honor for her. The rest of the swimmers, these are the swimmers that qualified for the state meet.
Why don't we have Cheyenne come down first, and then the rest of you, come on up here with him, Cheyenne, and then why don't the rest of you come over here against the wall, and as he calls your name, just step out and wave your hand, so we'll put a face with a name, and then we'll hand out the proclamations here in just a minute. Go ahead, Coach.
Cadence Brochu, Lila Brown, Brianna Clayton, Cody Higbee, Taylor Higbee, Kal-El Hooper, Cheyenne Kissinger, Thomas Kissinger, Gabby Mendoza-Lara, Carson Nault, Layla Nguyen, Hudson Plummer, Luke Rogers, Lauren Simpson, Elsa Stewart, and Weston Stewart.
And all those are swim state qualifiers. So congratulations to that team, and let's give them a big hand. All right, let's get a few pictures. Anybody like to get pictures, come on down. Quite an accomplishment, qualifying for state and earning state championship. All right. A few more. Hold the pose. Everybody get it up. A couple more. All right. Congratulations. One more round of applause for that group, please.
And then we've had some fabulous wrestling accomplishments, and Coach Trent Holland will tell us about those.
Looking sharp, Coach.
Thanks. Good evening. Thanks for having us. Appreciate the opportunity to come up here and talk about our wrestling team. I'm going to have those three individuals go ahead and come on up. First of all, we have Carlos Alvarado and Shay Salinas, who qualified for state this year. Shay Salinas is a 3-time state qualifier, once in Nebraska, twice in Oklahoma. Carlos Alvarado is a 3-time state qualifier, 2-time state placer, placed 4th this year at state. And then Hector Perez is going to be our all-state wrestler this year to represent Enid High School, 6A Large West. So just a little bit about them. All three of these individuals throughout their course and time here at Enid High School placed in multiple tournaments, state qualifiers.
You guys stay right there while he's talking, and parents can come on down and get a few pictures.
State placers. So they also, all three of them have been part of the Oklahoma national team, wrestling freestyle and Greco, and got to participate with the Oklahoma national team going up to Fargo and national tournaments. So they've had a great year, a great run. 2 seniors with Carlos and Hector. Shay is just a junior, so I'll have her back next year.
All right, congratulations. Let's give them a hand. Oh, one more. There we go. Got it. All right. Good job.
All right, moving into item number 2 takes us to audience to visitors, which we had none sign up tonight. Takes us directly to the superintendent's report. Dr.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. First up, we've got our Strategic Plan Committee Chair report on enrichment and extracurricular opportunities, and the chairpersons for that committee are Mr. Rob Mills, Coach Billy Tips, and Miss Jamie Jarnigan. Appreciate y'all coming tonight. Board members, you have a hard copy at your place. It's stapled.
All right. We're all going to talk a little bit. I'll go first, and then I'll turn over to Billy, and then Jamie. So the first sheet is just a reminder of what our goal is and the objectives. So the overall goal and then the objectives. But if you look at the second page there, it kind of breaks down what we hope to accomplish through the years. So obviously this being 2022, 2023, which two things that are ongoing is to track their participation and try to increase participation. However, we do want to report tonight, we did administer the survey last year, and we did have a meeting about it, and so
they've got a documentation attached right behind that.
Sure, and I wanted to say, if anybody, we did send the results of the survey to Dr. Floyd, and he did send it to all board members. I know there's some new board members. If Dr. Floyd, if you still got that on the email, if you'd share it with them, or if you need it from me, I've still got it. So we met back in September, and it was all of us, and then Tori joined us as a representation of the board, just to review the survey to see what trends that we could find in it. And so this is just kind of the meeting notes of that. It just reminds you of the survey questions. I want to say that there was around 1,400 to 1,500 students that took the survey, and you can see the percentages of the total there, about 25% elementary, 50% middle school, 25% high school. The second question was, of those 1,500 students, do you currently participate in co or extracurricular activities? And so 60% of them said yes. And then 3, 4, and 5 were tough because they were a response answer. And so you've got to look through several responses. What we try to do is just try to, find patterns in there. And so just what our overview of those things were, some of the things that were suggested we currently offer. And there was actually a lot of responses like that. And so what we said was maybe our committee can work on maybe some more communication, or just share that with everybody, that the more that we can talk about the positive things going on, and more that we can talk about those good things going on, because I guess you kind of take for granted sometimes that not everybody knows. And so maybe some better communication. So in the elementary level, the thing that stood out was soccer the most. That was the most on the survey. At the middle school level, swimming was something that stood out the most. And then there wasn't anything on the high school level that we don't currently offer that we felt like stood out on the survey. So that was for question number 3. Question number 4, what activity that is currently offered is no longer relevant? Most common answer is what I don't know or nothing. And so then question 5, if you are not currently participating in one of our extracurricular activities, what obstacles could we remove that is standing in your way? And so you can see there, I don't know, not applicable, nothing, none, I don't know, and then money were the top answers on that question. So just from the survey, we felt like we were headed in the right direction as a district in offerings to our students. And we're going to offer another survey, you can see there, in the 5th year of this. And so does anybody have any questions on that meeting or that part of it?
And board members, right when they get done with their report, Coach Tips is going to be up with his athletic director report that we do twice a year as well, so I'm sure he'll touch on a little bit more of this.
Okay, so the next page is just what I try to do, or what we try to do is track the middle school numbers in the extracurricular activities that we have outside of the core curriculum. And I would say this, a lot of this is dictated by the size of the classes that come into our middle schools. A lot of it is dictated by that, because I've got a class of 260 versus a class of 230. Those numbers are going to fluctuate a little bit. So the reason for this is just to look at some major trends, like if we have 100 to 200 students more taking it or less taking it, try to look at that to see the relevancy of the programs. And so there wasn't anything that I saw in there that was too alarming, but as you can see, the second year we had weight training, we've added that. This year we included our leadership numbers, so we're adding things all along. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tips, but I did speak with Mr. Liddell just a second ago, and we were just talking about aviation, and you know what? That's something that we are, they have started at the high school and that we are currently adding into our middle school curriculums for next year. And so I don't know if that showed up anywhere on the report, but just by word of mouth, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Yep, certainly falls into this category for sure.
Billy wants me to go ahead and slip in first,
Okay.
and then he'll do both his parts at the end. So elementary is a little different than middle school and high school, of course, because we have 10 sites, and so it's very varied in what different sites offer as extracurricular. So mine is this little, it'll be one page back probably, and I just gave total numbers in elementary.
Yeah, it's the very last page.
Very
board
last
members.
page.
Mhm.
And you can see some trends. Basketball in the middle is something that is this our third year, Randy? Third year basketball? Is that right? Third or fourth. That is, going really strong for that basketball league that we have for the boys and the girls. Honor choir is something we've had in the district for a long time, so that's something. But there were some others it depends on the building. Not every building has a dance club. My building has a drum club, but not everyone has that. So just kind of a tally of how many people are participating, and I think from now on that's kind of how I'll keep track of that. And any new clubs that come in or new extracurricular things, we'll add to the list and put the year on that. But yeah, that's all I have.
I have a quick question for you. Does every elementary site have an opportunity of some sort? I mean,
Yes.
we all have basketball.
Every
but outside
every
of that-
elementary has some
At
kind of
least something.
extracurricular opportunity. Yes,
Thank you.
and some, like some of the leadership ones. Some of them do it during the day. Some of them do it after school. Some it's called a service club. So some of that I kind of grouped together because there was such a variety.
Right.
But yes, every elementary has some type of extracurricular type of opportunity. A lot of it's with fourth and fifth graders, just because that's the age group that can do some of those things. But yes.
And I'd like to add the caveat that that's volunteer. Those are teachers
Yes.
that are standing above and beyond doing that, and that's why there's so many different ones, because
Yes.
if you're interested in Legos, you're going to have a Legos club. If you're not, then
Right.
you're not. So it's very volunteer-oriented.
Is that the same for middle school and high school?
No, not, well, some of them might be, but most of theirs are they're electives during class. So like sports is 7th hour, so it's a little different.
And basketball, just to be clear, they do get a small amount of money by the hour, but again, they have to volunteer to be willing to
Yes.
do that time after school.
Really, the only thing on here that has any kind of an extra stipend or anything would be basketball. They do a timesheet, and honor choir, there's a little stipend, but it's not big. And other than that, it's just on their own time.
I have one more question. This might be more of a Randy. Are all of the people leading these teachers, or could they be an outside parent or volunteer from the community for elementary level? Just curious.
They could be. For the most part, I would say we're probably all teacher-led. I know with basketball, one of the requirements is to be a teacher or a school employee, because we have to have some kind of say over how they conduct their business.
That makes sense.
And so
Really for all
we
of it, I
do kind of
guess.
monitor that.
Okay.
I would say in all of them, there's a school employee involved. There might be a volunteer who's helping them, but there's a school employee leading.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Good.
I have a question as well. Sorry.
Yep.
In collecting the responses, are y'all seeing a trend upward of involvement year over year?
Ours changes just depending on what the kids' interests are. And I would say basketball has trended up, and the things that we've had established have definitely trended up, especially since, the year of COVID, everything has trended up since then. Some of these come and go. I know for a while, Glenwood had an archery club because they had somebody that was really interested in that, and now they don't. So it kind of depends on teacher interest and student interest. So some of the elementary ones come and go. And also some grant money. I know for for my school, they used, a teacher got our drums with grants, and that's kind of how that came into play in my building. So it varies. Theirs might be a little different, though.
Jamie, of the activities that you have listed here, are any of these at every site?
Honor choir is offered at almost every site. Basketball, I think this year we had every site, didn't we, Randy? Yeah. And that was the first year. We've slowly added basketball groups every year. This year, everyone did basketball, girls and boys. That probably was the only one. And I think all but one maybe have an honor choir. I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay. Is it okay if I slip out and go back to baseball?
Baseball game, yeah. Good luck. Coach?
Yes, and I can help with, one of our goals is growth of participation rates. And so when we were collecting those numbers as compared to last year, we grew, I'll say anywhere between 14 to 18% in overall 7 through 12 participation numbers. So there was some growth there. And then our specific to athletics, our growth in our sports performance course that we're really trying to push, and that's our the class day sports performance class, strength and conditioning. That's more than doubled. We went from about 160 to about 336 of our athletes taking advantage of that. So as far as that, we didn't track it this year at the middle schools, but they offer a class also, a couple of different classes for the sports performance, and it's trending up also.
You see that it's in there under weight training.
Is in there?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in here on this.
Yeah. The more we push that and emphasize that and expect that, the more we see kids getting in there and doing that. So, and then for that report, I think, is there any other questions for the?
Anybody else on the strategic plan report? Appreciate you all leading that committee and chairing that committee. And then, board members, the next handout you have at your place says 22-23, what we do. And then right behind that, you've got this handout that Billy's going to talk about, also the first annual athletics leadership summit that comes up this Saturday. Coach?
Yeah, so just a little bit, we put that on there, that what we do, that's not meant to be arrogant or anything like that. It's really kind of what we're trying to get our student athletes to understand. It's just what we do. We just show up on time. We just do this. It's just what we do. It's not it's not a requirement. It's just what we do. So that's kind of why we put that on there, just kind of something to talk about. But if you'll take a look at the 22-23, what we do, that'll kind of cover everything. We just kind of put everything that athletics is trying to push and do and grow right now. There's a lot of great things going on. We're trying to, we published an article in High School Today magazine. We developed our our summit, our leadership summit, which is this Saturday, which you guys are all invited to. I've sent it out so many times, but I do not think I actually sent it to the board members. But absolutely, please come by. It starts about 8 or 8:30, and we'll have a breakfast, and then we have some fantastic speakers. I don't quite know what the turnout's going to be. It's the first annual, so I'm hoping that we get 40 to 50. We're at about 25 for sures, and then we're hoping some more show up. So it's one of those things where it's a busy time of year, but we're going to offer it, and hopefully they come. So. And then, one thing we're really proud of what we're doing also is our summer camps. We're really trying to, if you'll take a look at the summer camps, if you'll look both sides there, the front side is just like an overall view, but we thought we'd also add that calendar view for some people that are more, that can really see, if you have a student that wants to participate in several of those, they can really just plan their weeks out right there all summer long. So. Very proud of what we're trying to do with our summer camps. Our coaches do a great job offering a variety of activities in those summer camps. They're well ran. It's really good for our kids to do. This year, one thing that we're going to do with our Summer Pride that we hope will increase is we're going to allow at the middle school level incoming 6th graders to participate in the Summer Pride. So what we're finding is other 6A schools like us are doing something 1st grade through 6th grade. So we're thinking, how do we get that taught? Okay, some of these schools, by the time they get into 7th grade, they've been doing what their high school is doing since first grade. We've got to catch up. So we're going to teach kids to run in second grade. We're going to teach kids to do the movements and where their body should be athletically and agility-wise, and those patterns. Starting this year, it'll be second through fifth grade is what we're going to offer, and that'll be at the high school. Then at the middle schools, incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then at the high school, obviously, the 9 through 12 summer camps. So really proud of what we're doing there. Can't say enough about our coaches and the athletic department team. Appreciate you guys and your support. Any questions?
Questions for Billy? All right, thank you very much. And so as it relates, before we get off of that topic of enrichment and extracurricular opportunities and athletics and fine arts activities, et cetera, Billy just had on his list there that he wrote an article for the High School Today national magazine about instilling, changing the culture and instilling our Live the Creed, et cetera. So you might have seen just north of the building here, we had two of our new transportation vehicles out there. One is the trailer that Emmerich's donated to us, and then we had it all wrapped and looks fabulous, and that will transport not only band equipment but any other number of extracurricular groups and equipment. And then we had one of our new buses that will kind of take the place of the charter buses. It hasn't been wrapped yet, but it will, and it'll look much like some of the others we have that have been wrapped. And it's both of those are just great vehicles that students are going to appreciate, I think, especially on the long trips. And then, did we give a coin, Angela, to everybody? Did we get one? So she's going to pass out one of these Purple Star District coins to you, and we are one of the first districts in the state to be designated as a district-wide Purple Star School District, meaning that we are wholeheartedly supporting our military here in this school district, and we are proud of our partnership with Vance Air Force Base and what they do for not only our community but our country as well. So that has the Purple Star district-wide insignia on the one side and then our EPS logo on the other side. So appreciate everyone's effort in reaching that designation, and we are proud to be one of the first ones in the state to have achieved that designation. Alrighty, next up is a reminder about our noon board meeting on Thursday to sell some bonds. That's Thursday of this week, March 30th at noon. Should be a relatively short meeting, but I do want to go around the table and make sure we're going to have a quorum for that. So, Matt, you going to be able to make it? Not sure. Janelle? Oh, you're having surgery. Oh, that's not much fun. No. Joe? Okay, going to let us know. There's 1 yes, 2 yes, 3 yes, 4 yes. There's a quorum. And you're welcome to come if you want to, but not necessary if you got a conflict. So hope everything goes well with your surgery. And we will have a quorum if all 4 of these show up, and then Joe might be there and Matt might be there as well. Alrighty, so going to have a quorum there, so that's good. And then our bond people will be there as well. Next, a reminder about the school board, Region 3 school board training. It's going to be over at Ponca on April the 13th, 5:30 to roughly 8:30. They usually let us out by 8, but probably leave here at 4:15 because it's about an hour drive over there, and they usually feed us as well. I will not be able to make that meeting with you guys because I was already scheduled for a conference during that time. But Dr. Robinson will be transporting you guys over there. So let's go around the table and see who's going to be able to attend that meeting. That's an opportunity for you to get several school board training hours out of the way in one fell swoop. No for you, Randy? That is on April the 13th. Okay. Matt's a yes. Are you getting this? Okay, Matt's a yes. Chad is a yes. Tori is a yes. Joe's a yes. Janelle is planning on it, and Matt is planning on it. So Sam will make sure that we have 1 or 2 vehicles, however many we need for that. And sorry I won't be able to join that training with you guys, but good opportunity for you to get some training hours out of the way there. Hey, I had not thought about that. I'm not sure Sam's qualified to drive that thing, but we'll get back to you on that. All right. So that's a reminder about that. That's a reminder about that. Enrollment numbers are currently at 7642, so we're still hovering in the 76 to 7,700 range. Next item at your place, board members, is hot off the press, our 22-23 Plainsman Points of Pride document. And I know that Miranda and Jane put a lot of hard work into this and gathering all this information and putting it together, and it's an opportunity for us. We just do this once a year, right? One time a year to put some highlights and points of pride in there that, it's even got my paragraph in there, so unfortunately, yeah. June 30th, you guys will have me around here to kick around till June 30th. And so you guys are on the back there, so looking good. So I appreciate everyone's effort in putting that together, and it's an opportunity for us to share with everybody, including the community, some highlights and different points of pride throughout the district. And then next item is item G, and I did want to thank Kristen and Randy and several others for this. We're going to show you in just a minute a 2-minute video that elementary put together, but read to you quickly a short paragraph that Kristen put together. For a while now, we've been talking throughout the year about looking for opportunities to highlight academics throughout EPS, and our curriculum team created an outline of projects for this semester. The video you're about to see is about a 2-minute video of our new elementary English language arts curriculum called Wit and Wisdom, and it's 2 minutes highlighting the work that our students and teachers have done on that part of the curriculum. The lessons are built around student collaboration, text analysis, and writing. And a big thank you to Kevin Artman for gathering the raw footage and Mark Ray for putting this video together. So, and then secondary is working on putting a similar video together, and we'll let you know when we get that put together. Mark, you want to go ahead and roll that for us, please?
About Wit and Wisdom is how excited my kids get about learning, and it is just they're exposed to so many new concepts that they haven't before.
Wit and Wisdom provides daily opportunities for students to experience and respond to text in a variety of ways. Whether they're discussing, drawing, acting out a scene in a tableau, or working on a storyboard, they are actively engaging with the text while learning targeted standards.
I love writing because it's really fun doing Wit and Wisdom and stuff.
Well, I love Wit and Wisdom because it makes the students a lot better writers, and they make very descriptive writers.
All right, that's good stuff. Appreciate everyone that had a chance to put a hand in putting that together. Thank you very much. And then, as I said, we'll let you know when we get the secondary part put together. All right, just a couple of other final comments here about the superintendent search. Reminder that the electronic survey that went out that anybody can complete online about what they'd like to see in the new superintendent. That deadline is March 31st for the survey completion. And then OSSBA is continuing their work on putting together focus groups to gather input from a number of different groups about what they'd like to see across the community in the next superintendent. So that group will be meeting April 3rd at the Spirit Room at the high school. There's a time allocated for teachers, another one for parents, another one for community and business, one for support staff, and then one for administration. And so that comes up on April the 3rd. And then one final reminder, board members, I think, did we get financial disclosures from everybody? Got everybody. So that's the one time a year that you have to complete that. And so appreciate everybody doing that and getting that form to Sam for us to file. And I believe that's the extent of my superintendent report. Let me I believe that is, hang on. I did want to remind everybody, I don't see, Nicole, is that, yep, there's Nicole right over there. She's our new Vance Air Force Base School Liaison Officer, so we're happy to have you. She's replacing Colonel Higgins, and we're glad to, did I steal some of your thunder on your report? Sorry. But we're glad to have you, Nicole, and glad you're filling that role for us now. We look forward to working with you. And I believe that's it.
Okay, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, sir. That takes us to item 4, regular business. And item A, discussion and possible action to approve the following consent agenda items 1 through 13. Do I have a motion? Motion by Matt Sampson, second by Joe Blackwood. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 4B, discussion and possible action to approve the district financial report for February 2023. Dr. Robinson.
Got the one-page handout there in front of you.
All right. Once again, everything is looking really good on collections. The kind of the highlights of this meeting I want to talk about a little bit are where we're at on gross production this year. We've been doing pretty well, but as you know, gas prices have fallen off pretty steeply as far as natural gas goes, not the fuel we put in our car gas prices. So we are going to see some decline as we go into the next couple of months, I believe, on some of our gross production collections. But we're still in a really good financial position to not let that worry us so much. Was getting a little bit worried as I was seeing oil kind of taper off there, but it has come back up above $70 a barrel. So while some people might disagree with this comment, in the state of Oklahoma, when we have oil prices at above $70 a barrel, it's really a good life for most Oklahomans, including Enid Public Schools. So let's hope oil kind of stays up there in that area, just for not only the city of Enid and our productivity, but also for the money that comes into the school district with that. So again, collections are really good. Expenditures, we have some pretty good expenditures this year, but we are doing some really good projects out there, which I'll provide all that to you guys kind of come June with a culmination of everything we've done for this fiscal year. A couple of things I also want to point out are T-bill investments. Part of the financial report is all of our investments. We did do something a little different this year. We have actually invested our sinking fund because of interest rates. I know that's kind of a different investment pool, but we're going to bring in about $60,000 on our sinking fund, which while $60,000 isn't really going to change our millage too much. I believe anything we can do to add to that bond repayment and maybe help our taxpayers over time can be beneficial to the district. And again, that's really because we're sitting with interest rates above 4%. So take full advantage of that, I think, as a school district is very important. A lot of people can complain about high interest rates, but when you're at that 4% threshold, it's really good for us to take advantage of that and grow our money without us really having to work for it. So I look at that as really free money to the district to increase our revenue side. So that's where we're sitting on investments and kind of where everything sits. No real change from last month as far as expenditures and revenues go.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Matt Lohman, second by Joe Blackwood. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Our auditor, Pat Carroll's not here yet. I think he had one or two other districts to do tonight. So I would recommend that we,
He is on his, he told me he'd be here in just a few minutes. That's what I said.
oh, he's on his way?
Yes. That's what he
Okay.
told me.
We can go on to item D if you want to.
Okay. Item 4D, sorry, I had to think of what number we were on. Discussion and possible action to approve the EPS Independent Auditor Contract of fiscal year 2023 transactions with SMB CPAs and Associates, PLLC, who are taking over for Pat Carroll of, did we say Chaz?
Charles.
Charles.
Chaz W. That was his dad's.
Dad, right. Okay. W. Carroll, PA. Dr. Robinson?
Yes, so Pat is retiring from being our auditor this year. However, his firm that he established is really who this is moving to. So we're still keeping our local Enid firm as our auditor. It's just going under new ownership, new name. And this contract is really so we can tell the state of Oklahoma that we're under contract. I'll bring the actual financial contract to you guys hopefully next month for that same firm. But we need to tell the state of Oklahoma that we will have an auditor, we will have them secured, and we'll be ready for our FY23 financial audit next year, because tonight we're going to hear our FY22 financial audit.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Joe Blackwood. Who was the second, Chad? Second by Chad Mance. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries.
Okay, to keep from staring at each other, I do have some paperwork we can fill out while we're waiting on Pat.
Perfect.
So it's the audit acknowledgement form. You guys sign this every year, but we'll go around, have everybody sign their appropriate position, and then hopefully Pat's here. If we decide we want to go into executive session, Pat can wait too for that. So.
I think we're actually going to have a pretty short executive session, so if you guys want to, if you'd like to, we can go ahead and convene in there, and we'll probably only be back there 5 or 10 minutes, and then when we get back out here, Pat ought to be here. Let's do that. Huh?
There's a question if that's really true.
Well, we'll try. You want to do that?
Yeah, we can do the paperwork first, though. Do you want to try that? You want to sign real quick? Let's just sign.
Okay, all right, we'll see where we are when we get this
He's already
done.
started. Let's
Okay.
finish one process.
All right.
And then we'll go.
We didn't lock the doors this year.
Two.
Oh, gosh, he couldn't get in.
Oh, I forgot.
Whenever we went to our buzzer system, we found we had
Oh, yeah.
And it was
not on
locking.
purpose. Not on purpose.
No.
Yeah. He was knocking on the door while we were in executive session.
And we don't have any new business.
No. There you go.
Coach Tips really talk faster than I
We could go through 5 and 6 real quick. I mean, it's not, it's just verbiage. Just to stay.
Oh.
Just go through new business and then
Yeah.
6 if there are any
Mhm.
comments. Go to executive if he doesn't walk in the door.
You didn't see a short old auditor out there anywhere, did you? Okay, just checking.
We use kind
I'm in the same category, short and old, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So item 5, new business, which we had none.
Correct.
Correct. And then item 6, reports and items of information, board comments and or questions. Colonel Miller, do you have any updates for us?
Dr. Floyd took all my fun.
Oh, gosh.
Nothing
See how he is? Yeah. Touche.
Nicole, they're arguing over who got to talk about you. I'm sorry. Any board comments? No. See? Okay, that takes us to item 7, our next regular meeting, April 17th, 2023, at 6 p.m. here in the Administrative Services Center boardroom. Do we want to go executive?
Let's do.
All right. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve a proposed executive session to discuss the employment of those individuals and or positions listed on the attached Exhibit A and Exhibit B, possible purchase or appraisal of real property, and pending or possible litigation. Do I have a motion? Motion by Joe Blackwood. Do I have a second? Second by Matt Lohman. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we will go to executive.
Got it? Okay.
That's fine,
Veronica,
6:50.
can you hang out here until Pat gets here? Okay, thanks. And tell him we should be pretty short. I don't know.
Which came first?
Very professional. You can take all of these. Okay. And then let me just take a picture if you don't mind. So I remember what. Yeah. And then so this is all of the focuses on the campus already. Okay. Points of pride, and then this is from their survey. Do you still want this? What they're doing? Yeah, okay. I love that. Okay. And then so going through everything in Tim's old office. So he has all of these folders that have Enid information, like packets. Like enrollment packets? Yeah. But some of it's outdated information, like old calendars, like 2021. So, well, and I can put it for new calendar. There's something else in there. I just wanted to make sure all of the information is correct. So if I can copy it. Okay. I don't remember what else is in there, but I can email it's like he's got like stacks and stacks of these. Maybe Enid. I can email you the new calendar. Okay. What's your email? It's Nicole and
seat 3. Do you want that Gracia that has her info? She's right over there in the second
I got in a hurry. Yeah, but there's your audit. Yeah.
Oh, you don't have one?
We thought it was gonna be like 7:30.
Everything's
Yeah.
Sam's fault. Well, you just took a page out of my book?
It's what it typically.
I'm just going to.
Yeah. No worries.
Financial investment.
Oh, a little bit older then. Yeah, okay, good deal. Well, I think when we open back up, we're going to let you do your part and you go ahead and finish.
Oh, Cal's gonna start crying. All right.
The board convened into executive session at 6:50 PM. Present in the executive session were all board members, and including Angela Rhodes, Jane Johnson, Dr. Robinson, Randy Rader, and Dr. Floyd. The board met in executive session to discuss the items listed on the agenda. No actions were taken by the board during executive session. The board returned to open session at 7:22 PM.
Thank you, sir. We are going to go now to item 4C, discussion and possible action to approve the report of the independent audit of fiscal year 2022 transactions for Enid Public Schools. Dr. Robinson and Mr. Pat Carroll.
Board members, you got two handouts there. One is a two-page staple, and then you got the audit book. Pat, we certainly appreciate all the work you've done for our district over many years, and glad you're going to be moving into a different phase yourself. Maybe I can get you a hat or something.
You kind of pushed me into this. I thought if he can do this, I can do this.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things that's kind of bittersweet. Done this for so long, 53 years. My family's done governmental work for 100 years. My grandfather did it, my father did it, my brother started about 4 to 5 years before I did, but he got out 4 to 5 years before I did. So I'm still doing this at this point. Hopefully it's been mutually beneficial, because it has been for us, but we've tried to do a good job of oversight and helping with whatever goes on with the district. Did you all do your homework and read the paper, the information that you got earlier?
Oh, we've got it all committed to memory, yes.
I'll make this shorter. This is the audit for the 21-22 fiscal year. There are 3 opinion letters within the financial statements. I'll go over that. I'll tell you a little bit about them, and then we'll go over them a little bit later. The first one's on page 4, 5, and 6. It's the independent auditor's report on your financial statements taken as a whole. It covers if the financial statements are presented properly, if they're presented on a basis consistent with the previous year. It also will tell you in there that it's qualified because we're not on GAAP. The federal government wants us to be on a GAAP basis, on an accrual basis of accounting. The state of Oklahoma says we'll be on a modified cash basis. So we go with the modified cash. That makes us report unqualified and not qualified. You want an unqualified opinion. A qualified opinion means we found something wrong within those financial statements. It also has a statement in there that it's adverse. It says it's adverse because we don't show your fiscal assets. We don't include the buildings, all the land and everything else, because we don't do income statements. We don't depreciate. When you've bought something, you're going to use it. You buy another one, you need it. We don't run it over 20 years, 40 years for a building. We bought it, we paid for it, we're going to use it. So we do not include those. You do have fixed assets, but they're included, and the district keeps track of those. You have to have those for insurance policies. It's just not shown within the financial statements taken as a whole. There are 3 major financial statements. There's an Exhibit A, B, and C. Exhibit A is a balance sheet. It shows the different combined fund balances that you have. Your general fund, which includes your child nutrition fund. Your special revenues, which is your building and your municipal tax fund. Debt service is your sinking fund. That's where you're going to pay off for all the bond issues that you have. The capital projects and the bond funds that you have, and you have 3 of those. We also have a trust and agency that's made up of your activity funds. You have an activity fund, you have a gift and endowment fund, you have a small lunch fund. Then we also have a district-wide gift fund or an endowment fund. So it shows up on there also. But it shows the assets in each one of those combined funds. Also shows your liability and fund balances that you would have outstanding, the warrants paid, or the reserves. Reserve is something that you've issued an encumbrance. You've approved a purchase order, but we haven't received those goods or services, so we have not issued a warrant. That money has to stay in the year that you approve that encumbrance. You can't pay for it out of next year. It has to stay in that year until that item comes in, and then you pay for it. You also then have the fund balances. They're restricted or unassigned. General fund says unassigned. There's actually $1.7 million in there that would be considered assigned because it's child nutrition money that we received. It was federal money that came in from the federal government, and that's included in your general fund. We also had the special revenue, debt service, and capital projects. You add the fund balances to the liabilities, it comes up to what the assets are. Exhibit B and C are balance sheets, or income statements, pardon me. It shows the revenues by the different fund types, shows expenditures by the different fund types, excess of revenues collected over or under expenditures. See, we had an increase in the general fund. We had a decrease in our building fund. You had a lot of construction. You had a lot of different building projects going on, so you spent some of that building fund money. Debt service, then our capital projects. Capital projects will show a negative, but you see down below we also had other financing sources. That's when we sold the bonds and brought in. That's not considered revenue. It's another financing source. So overall, we had an increase in our capital projects also. The special revenue, I want you to remember that because you've got those bond funds that you are collecting dollars for, and you have done these projects. You had to have those because the building fund, you can see the revenue up there was $1.6 million. That's what you collect in your building fund. You can only spend money for capital expenditures through a building fund or through a bond fund. You don't collect enough money in the building fund to do what this district has done. You've expanded it so much with what you've done with the different bonds and the lease purchases you've done, where you had the money up front and you could take care of it instead of trying to do little small bond issues for $1 million at a time. You've had 2 different bond issues, one of $90,000, one of $60-some thousand, that you've done everything to this district, and it really makes a difference, and everybody that comes here notices it. So you and the constituents around here have done a really good job to make this district what it is. That's my good thing I'm going to say about you. Exhibit C is a budget to actual. I won't go over the whole thing, but I'll show you that the general fund and the special revenue funds are in there. And we also have the debt service. If we had additional monies that we had to do a supplement for because we'd collected money but we didn't have enough money to spend what we wanted to, there'd been a supplemental appropriation presented to you as a board to sign for this and approve to it so we can increase the budget. You cannot spend more money that's been budgeted or appropriated. So if there's additional money that comes in there, it has to come to you to be approved to be able to spend these dollars. There were no adjustments within those 3 funds, but it shows your original final budget and then what was actually collected or spent that I just showed you on Exhibit B. Starting on page 7 are your notes to financial statements. If you're new, I'd say read this. Mark your spot. You don't want to start over. It's written by attorneys, it's written by accountants, it's written by actuarials. A lot of good information, not really good reading. So go ahead and look it over, see what it is, and see what happens with your district. It talks about your fund accounting, it talks about the governmental fund types that you have, it talks about the basis of accounting and presentation and the budget and budgetary accounting system you're on. On page 11, 12, and 13, it talks about the different bonds that you have that are outstanding. We had bonds of 2021 that'll pay off this May. You have another bond of 222 that'll pay off in May of 24. We also had our first lease purchase. That was for, I think, $69 million. That will pay off in September of 24. We also had a combined lease purchase on 13 for another $64,000 that will pay off in September of 31. But this is what's been used by the district to provide the facilities that you have. You just didn't go in and work on one school. You've worked on every school that we have in this district. You've worked on the facilities on each one of them. You've improved the facilities, you've built new facilities, so you've done a really good job with what you've got. We had one other small lease purchase that paid off in August of this last year. It was for the artificial turf and other related equipment over at the athletic center. We have combining statements after the notes to financials. I'll go through those quickly. All the A's are balance sheets. Going to show the special revenues. We had a building fund and municipal tax. Shows the cash on hand. Municipal tax you're no longer collecting money on. It's the only money you're going to get from that is what is coming in on interest that the district's collecting. That was a municipal tax that the city of Enid did a number of years back, that any school district that touched the city of Enid got money. They got money from that sales tax that came in, depending on their population. But as long as that money was coming in, each district that touched here got these dollars, but it was to be spent on capital expenditures and capital outlay. It couldn't just be spent on anything else. But it's one of those other items that's been very beneficial. The city has benefited from what they've decided to do for you, from whatever's happened with these dollars. Schedule A2 is your bond funds. It shows the 3 different bond funds that you still have out, and Schedule A3 deals with the activity funds. The Enid overall activity fund, we had a small school lunch fund, you show a 0, and it's supposed to be 0 because the money in that fund at the end of each year has to be transferred into the district. Because you can only collect money in that fund, but you can't spend money out of it. It has to be put back into the district because that's where expenditures are made. I say that because we went through this for several years where we had to say you left money in there, but you didn't this year, and that's good. We had gift and donation fund. That was money that's in the activity fund for scholarships and activities. And we also have a trust and agency fund. That's the district-wide where we can only spend the interest from that. We can't spend the principal for these scholarships also. Schedule B's are for the income statements, for the different funds, for the special revenue, building fund, and municipal tax. Shows that money comes in and how we spend it. Again, you can see we collected $1.8 million within the building fund. You can't build anything with that. You can barely keep a building up. Buy materials, janitorial, you can't spend, that costs more than that $1.8 million. So you had to do the things you've done with the building projects that you have with those bond funds. B2 is the bond funds themselves. We don't collect any money in a bond fund other than the sale of bonds or a little bit of interest. In one instance in here, we had revenue that came back in from an expenditure what we had, but we received a reimbursement for, so we got some money back in on that bond fund. C1 is just a budget to actual for your building and your municipal tax, same as we saw on Exhibit C, but this just shows how the breakdown is, and the total goes over to Exhibit C for the special revenues. Starting on D1, your activity funds. 3 pages worth of activity fund subaccounts. You approve these subaccounts. You approve how they can raise the money and how they can spend the money. Then you have sponsors in each one of these that have to do what they're supposed to do. They have to receipt the money. They have to return the receipted money into the custodian on a daily basis. We can't have more than $100 out there without going to the deposit. That's not by subaccount, that's by the whole fund. So they have to take these dollars, they have to turn them in on a daily basis to make sure these receipts are made. You can see how many people are controlling money here or touching money. You also have the expenditures. Before they can make an expenditure, they have to have a requisition. That requisition has to be approved by a higher force. Once that's approved, they can go ahead and make that purchase. When that purchase comes in, we have to have an itemized invoice. That invoice is to be signed by whoever received those goods or services. There's a lot of different things that have to go on here. A lot of different people have to know what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, there's a possibility because a lot of this is cash. This is our highest problem area. It's cash, and you got all these different people who are holding the money. So if they don't do it right, it can go away. If you collect a lot of money and you leave it there long enough, you can leave it in your truck, in your car, in a purse, on your desk, in your desk, somebody will notice. And if there's an opportunity, there will become a need and it goes away. That student's not going to pay for it again. That parent's not going to pay for it again. We can't cover it. We didn't get it. So that teacher would be responsible for it. So that's why it's important that they know what to do. It's not a penalty, it's a safeguard, telling them how they should do these things and how they should take care of them. On the third page, you can see how much money we're talking about. We collected $1.9 million. It's a lot of money to go through the activity fund. We spent $1.8 million. A lot of dollars going through there. On E1, it deals with our donation of our activity fund. It's donation and gift funds. You can see the different sub-accounts we have. These are people that have given money, how money's been collected, what money's there, and how we spend it. Again, it's the same thing. The money that's coming in is usually interest. It's not a problem to take care of, but it is, we do need to know, and it needs to be traced on how we can spend these dollars. On F1's your small activity fund, our small lunch fund, pardon me. We have lunch monies that come in from sale of lunches and breakfast. Those monies are collected, then they're sent over to the district because that's where we spend the money. It's very small this year. This year, when you see it, it's going to be much larger. The last 2 years, we've been getting free and reduced from the federal government, so we weren't selling lunches. We didn't have money coming in. It's going to change. We get more money from those free and reduced lunches than we do from our sales. We get more money that comes in from that. That's one of the reasons why we always push to make sure people go ahead and register for the free and reduced, because the district gets more money from those than just from the sales that they have. There's a lot of money that came in. There was a lot of money that came in all the way around from the federal government with the child nutrition. We also had a lot of COVID money and CARES money that came in through the district, so we had a number of extra dollars in there. It's real nice to get those dollars, but they're restricted on how they can be used. They don't just give it to us and say, here, help your district. It's restricted on how they can do it and how they can spend the money, so when we go through, we have to check that. You spent more than $750,000 in federal money. Matter of fact, you spent $16,000 or $16 million in federal dollars. When you become that, you become what's called a uniform guidance. That's why you have 3 reports in here. We have to check 40% of that total dollar amount of those programs. We can't check the same programs each year. But once we check one COVID program, we have to check all those COVID programs. So we checked a whole lot of stuff this year. But when we do that, we have to go through and we have to verify the collection. We have to verify the program it was in. Was the program correct? Was it spent for the right items? Was it spent in the right area? Was it marked if we bought different equipment, because it has to be marked with the year and the title of the program? There's a lot of different things that have to be checked with the federal programs when they come in. There's a lot of money that comes in. It expanded what the district had to do, expanded what we had to do. Administration did a good job of being able for us to be able to follow what's going on here, because there's a lot of extra dollars here, a lot of extra things going in. You're getting more dollars this year. We had $1.7 million still left to spend, or $1.5 million still to spend from last year's child nutrition. That right-hand column over there shows you if we've over or under collected. The ones that show negative, those are dollars that are still coming in this year because we paid for them, but we didn't receive the money back from the state or the federal government until after the close of the year, because we don't get those dollars if we don't have a purchase order and a warrant written by June 2nd. If we don't have that, whatever we spend, we're going to collect in the next year, because they're not going to give it to us until that point in time. A lot of this are items that we've ordered, equipment, be salaries, could be payroll that we haven't paid by that time. So these are dollars that we have spent, but we've since collected, except for that $1.5 million down there with the child nutrition. That was other money they gave us, and they're still giving us money. It's great, except we got to figure out how to spend it now within their guidelines. When they first gave us the federal money, they said, go spend it. And then a few months later, they said, oh, no, you can't do that, after we'd already spent it. Then they came into the next group and they said, okay, this is how you're going to do it, and you can spend it this way. Then they came back and said, no, we got to make some more regulations. Now they've got it where basically you have to get approval before you spend it, which is good because we don't have to go back and correct anything. But it was certainly nice when they just gave us money and said, here, do something good with it. That's my political statement for the moment. After the scheduled expenditures, we have our second letter. It's on page 21. It's Independent Auditors Report on Internal Control of Financial Reporting, Compliance, and Other Matters. First one dealt with the financial statements taken as a whole. This is when we check all the normal items within your district. Check your receipts, your expenditures, your teacher retirement, your payroll, your board minutes. We like it when you have short board meetings because we have to read those minutes. But it's we check everything else at this point. We found no material misstatements. We found no significant deficiencies. We did find one item that we considered to be a management item. It was a B1. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. It didn't affect anything other than it shouldn't have been handled that way. The next letter deals with Independent Auditors Report on Compliance on each major federal program. This is when we went into the federal programs themselves and the ones that we had to check, and we reviewed those and we audited those to make sure that they were handled correctly, that the financials were properly stated, and that the expenditures were made within the guidelines that have been given to us. Page 26 is where you probably wanted me to start. It deals with the schedule of findings and question costs. Within the financial statements taken as a whole, you can see the auditor's reports considered to be adverse. That's for the federal government because we're not on a accrual basis of accounting. We're on modified cash. Modified cash means that we only show our money when we've collected it, actually received it. Expenditures happen, though, when you as a board approve that encumbrance. We haven't received the goods, we haven't paid for them, but it's going to reduce our fund balance we have at that time. On an accrual basis of accounting, we would show revenues that we have not yet received. But the expenditures that we have, even though we've ordered something, if we hadn't paid for it, we wouldn't show those. So it really skews your fund balance on a different way. Modified cash is very conservative. You can't overspend what you had. You can't spend more than what your budget is. And we always show the encumbrance, even though we haven't received it, so it reduces our fund balance. It's a very conservative basis of accounting. We also were qualified due to the omission of the general fixed asset group. I told you about that. We don't depreciate them. We don't show them on here, but we do keep an inventory of all of our goods and buildings. We had no material weaknesses. We had no significant deficiency and no non-compliance of material financial statements. Same way for the federal awards. The items that we did check dealt with the COVID programs that you had. Then we had no financial statement findings. We had no major federal findings. If you go to page 28, talking about our exceptional recommendation, it's less than a significant finding. It's just something that needs to be done correctly. Publication for bid proposals were made twice in 1 week and not in consecutive weeks as required by the statute. Statute said that you'll publish 2 times. You publish in 2 consecutive weeks. You publish 1 week and the next week. We published on Tuesday and Thursday. We got to do it in separate weeks. It's not a big thing. You've got your bids in. You had what you had, but you need to publish correctly because it's in the statute.
And that just happened once, right?
Just happened once. Overall, it's a very good report. A lot of effort goes into making sure that things are handled correctly, and we appreciate it because we spend a lot of time looking at it. We want to make sure that it's being done right, and the people that are dealing with it within your administration do an excellent job. They've done a very good job in making sure everyone else knows what they're supposed to do also. You've had a couple years of changes in your financial system on how things were being taken care of, and a lot of people have had to learn new things, and they've done a good job of it. You had another sheet there that you want to look over. It's just a kind of synopsis or summary of what you received and what you expended by the different funds, but I want to take up your time and tell you the rest of it.
That is a really good audit, and we appreciate all your time and effort and energy on not only this year's audit, but all the many years that you've been doing it, and we certainly appreciate that. Any questions for Pat? Well, I want to, before you get done, I want to applaud Dr. Robinson and all of his business department folks that do a great job, and these clean audits do not happen by accident. Takes a lot of hard work on their part and due diligence on their part, so good job.
This is my farewell tour.
Yeah, you want to introduce your partners
there?
there?
No merchandise to sell.
Yes, will you
Tell us who you brought with you. Who'd you bring?
I've got Jay States and Billy Buss. They have been with me for a while. Jay's been with me over 11 years. Bill's a couple years. He's done this kind of work before. I spent quite a while trying to find somebody else to come in and help do what I do and take over. I've done this 53 years. I'm ready. I'm ready for a break. He took a break. I'm going to take a break.
There you go.
But I really appreciated it, enjoyed it. Grew up in this building. But they've started a new company. They're one of the first new firms to be approved by the state auditor on their approved list in 10 to 20 years. When I was doing this in 1998, there were 73 firms that do what I do. There's 20 now. Next year there'll be 18.
Wow.
It's hard to find them. We wanted to have somebody who was around here who wanted to come in and do it and take care of the people in this area. That's where we started, and these gentlemen have worked with me long enough. They're going to do the audit part. I'm going to go ahead and do the beginning of the year. I'll do the estimate needs and help with the budgets and those things, but they'll do the other portion of that, and I feel that they're qualified and responsible to do this. But this was going to be my tail end of the year, and a friend of mine I'd been working with for years who's done this also was going to retire, and he died in January.
Oh, that's too bad.
This year I get to finish his audits.
Wow.
So
well,
my easy year is not easy.
Yeah, just for y'all's information, before we broke to go into executive session, the board did take action to approve the switch over to you guys, so that action has already taken place, and we're ready for action on the audit.
So, do I have a motion to approve the independent audit as presented? Motion by Joe Blackwood. Second by Matt Lohman. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
That's the quickest I've ever done this.
Yeah,
you did
good
a
job.
very good
Thank
job.
you, Pat.
You
Appreciate
did.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, that then takes us back to item 10, discussion then possible action. Oh, whoa, yeah. Okay. Hang on. Discussion then possible action to approve those individuals and or positions listed on the attached Exhibit A. However, I am informed by I just went blank, Miss Jane is what I was about to say, Miss Johnson, that we need to pull out under B resignations, Tracy Lewis as a resignation. She's going to be a reassignment. But so we'll pull her out tonight. Is this correct, Dr. Robinson? Is this how I need to do it? Okay. So approving Exhibit A as attached, removing under B resignations, Tracy Lewis, counselor. Do I have a motion? Motion by Matt Sampson, second by Joe Blackwood. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 11, discussion then possible action to approve adjunct instructor status as allowed by the Oklahoma State Department of Education for individuals listed on Exhibit B, listed as 1 and 2. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Matt Lohman. Motion by Matt Lohman, second by Joe Blackwood. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. And item 12 is notification of reassignments, retirements, and or resignations is approved by the superintendent and then listed on the attached Exhibit A. Requires no action.
Did y'all see my hat?
I apologize for everyone in this building. I think you're going to hear that all week. Takes us to item 13, adjournment. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
On
Matt Sampson. You're welcome.
The quote that's going to go on the
Have you seen my hat?